Hey, this is going to be a little bit of a different video from the ones I usually do on this channel. For one, I'm not going to do any lighting or anything here. This is just sitting in my office talking to you. Recently, I met somebody who had their thyroid removed and was struggling with everything that comes through that. It brought back a lot of memories that I had my thyroid removed over 15 years ago now because of Hashimoto's. I'm not sure the numbers or anything, but according to my doctor, being a young 20-something guy at the time, having Hashimoto's was pretty rare. And ended up with a full thyroid appendectomy. I'm hoping I'm saying that. Basically, they removed my thyroid completely, left the calcium glands. I'll get to that in a little bit. But I wanted to tell my story of having Hashimoto's, the diagnosis, the treatment. More importantly, what happened afterwards. Because I find when I talk to people who have Hashimoto's or other thyroid diseases and get their thyroid removed, they just kind of assume like, oh, that's it. Take a pill, I'm good. And what I found is it really takes some time after the surgery for your body to readjust to life. Having thyroid issues really puts a lot of stress on your body. And I wanted to kind of go over what that meant for me and how I addressed that. And 15 years later, where am I today? So back up to the beginning, I was working at a summer camp between college years or semesters, and suddenly I was losing a ton of weight. I was very cranky too. I feel bad for people that year. I was cranky. I mean, I'll get to that in a moment, but I lost so much weight that when I put my pants on, put my belt on fully, my pants fell off. Literally just couldn't keep weight on. What was happening was my thyroid was in the end stages of dying. It was peaking and just kind of going crazy, and then down and then up and then down. And I just uncontrollable loss of weight. Saw a doctor, ended up going home early. And of course, doctors, worst case scenario, let's look at the things that we think it could be that could kill you right away. And the first thing they looked at was peritoneal cancer. Long story why they thought it was that, but some things popped up in the blood work that pointed that way. Thankfully, it was not. But I remember a few months of, hey, I'm going to die. Because if you know anything about peritoneal cancer, once symptoms appear, you're kind of a goner, is what they pretty much tell you. Thankfully, it wasn't that. And I remember during the process, they would say every now and then, your thyroid's slightly off, but we really want to trace down this possibility of cancer first. And once they ruled it out, we started looking at the thyroid. Did a biopsy of it, quickly realized that something's not right here. There's some nodules growing on my thyroid. And so we ended up going the route of a thyroid removal. The surgery ended up taking twice as long as normal. Basically, to be honest with you, I was a very young 20s, like 2021 aged guy. My thyroid my medicine and everything, we'd been doing a little bit of it, but for months and years before, I'd probably been ignoring symptoms. I'll get to that in a little bit, but my thyroid had progressed to the point where it was completely dead. It broke apart when they tried to take it out, and they had to dig out all the pieces of my thyroid, and that took a very long time. Now, this is kind of where I really wanted to talk about. A lot of people assume, okay, so diagnosed Hashimoto's, did the thyroid removal, did the biopsy, confirmed, you're good, right? Your thyroid's gone, everything's good. Well, not really. In most people who have Hashimoto's or other thyroid issues, the damage to your body, or not really damage, but your body has been put under a great deal of stress. That it's trying to understand the thyroid meds are a little bit different than what your regular body delivers, and you need to adjust that. It took me about 2 years for my body to really kind of level out, get used to a level of dosage of medicine. And once I hit that, about 2 years for me, everybody will be a little bit different, some shorter, some longer. I was good, and my life kind of returned to normal. So I really encourage you, if you are in this stage of dealing with Hashimoto's and your thyroid has just been removed, or you're about to, don't get depressed. A lot of people suffer with depression at this stage because they are like, oh, my thyroid's out. That it should be completely taken care of and removed, and everything. Everything should go back to normal. It really takes about 2 years in my experience. What helped me get back to normal? Well, being a little aggressive, being willing to say, it's my body, something doesn't feel right, and you talk to my doctor helped. The other thing I found personally, try to keep control of your weight. I find if I can keep my weight steady. Now, it doesn't mean you need to be a skinny person. I think what is important is to try to keep your weight pretty level so that the doses of medicine doesn't need to be changed all the time. According to my doctor, your weight really does affect the dosage level, and if you can keep that steady, you will be able to do a better job of keeping your medicine steady and keeping everything working great. So I find getting on a scale every morning is great, and I try to keep my weight within about 5 pounds. So if I start getting up a little high, I for a few days will kind of be careful of what I'm eating. I find that's very healthy. That's my main tip. The second tip is try to take your medicine at the same time every day. If you take it at night or morning, talk to your doctor, but try to have a routine that it goes in your body at the same time every day. It goes back to that keeping things level. Talk to some people and they're like, oh, I took it yesterday, I took it the day before, I took one at night and then the next morning I took another one, and that they're inconsistent with when they take their medicine. I find for me that doing that is one of the worst things I can do for my mental health. So strongly encourage you to try to keep things steady when you're looking at your mental health. So check that out, and physical health. The other thing is take a deep breath. I remember a doctor who I quickly got rid of right after my thyroid was removed. He told me, if you had paid attention to your body, we probably could have saved your thyroid, basically saying that I didn't listen to my body when I was having some health issues a year or two before that could have pointed to the fact that I had Hashimoto's. Being at the time I was a teenager, kind of ignored it, to be honest with you. That kind of made me hyperconic a little bit, or whatever you call it. Suddenly, every time I was sick, it was like the end of the world. You're just like, oh no, I gotta pay attention to this. The doctor told me if I don't, I could lose a foot, arm, So don't, just take a breath. It's not the end of the world. This kind of stuff happens. Even if you have been paying attention earlier maybe and caught some of the earlier signals, you could still have your thyroid removed, I learned later on. But there was a few years where I really was freaking out over every little health thing, because that's what my doctor kind of put on me. He didn't have the greatest bedside manner. And being a young 20-something guy, it freaked me out a little bit. So one of the two things: don't freak out. Take your meds at the same time every day. Don't expect the surgery to remove your thyroid to be an instant overnight fix, because it takes a while for your body to normalize. And even if you keep your thyroid, it can take a while for your body to re-normalize, because your thyroid's been going like this, and now you're trying to supplement it to level it out, and that can take a while. You just got to take a breath, take your time. It will all work out in the end. I guess is the main thing I would like to pound home. But 15 years later, I hardly think about my thyroid. I get my blood drawn once a year to check my levels. My thyroid medication has not changed in about 5 years. Again, though, I try to keep my weight pretty steady. I do recommend, though, try to eat decently. I'm not always best. I drink my Coke. I like a nice steak. I'm not always the best person in the world with eating, but in the big picture, I just try to keep my weight level. I try to take my medication at the same time. I try to get a good night's rest and take care of myself. I'm no health nut, but at the same time, I'm not a complete. I'm making it a priority in my life to pay attention to my health a little bit. And for the last maybe 10 or so years, I've been very healthy, very good with my life. So that's my recommendation. There is a light in the end of the road with Hashimoto's. It may take a lot longer than you think it will, but hang in there. It will pay off in the end if you do the work. So if you have a question about Hashimoto's, leave a comment down below. I'd love to chat with you. But the main thing I just want to say here is, hey, there's a light in the end of the tunnel. Hashimoto's is not a death sentence. It's not a misery sentence. May it take a while? Yeah. And if you're 2-3 years down the road and you're still having a lot of issues, don't be afraid to switch doctors. I did that, and after about 6 months, I kind of realized that my doctor and we weren't communicating very well. He was I felt at times like I was being pushed aside, like they didn't really care a lot about what I was saying. So I switched a doctor who did care, who worked with me a little bit in my levels and worked with me, and we built a program, and suddenly a year after that, I was feeling a ton better. So be vocal, don't rush it, don't expect things to change overnight, be patient, and don't freak out. Those are my main words of advice. So that's my Hashimoto story. I hope it helped somebody. Maybe it didn't, but maybe it did. Thanks, everybody. Take care.